Okay, good morning everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this morning, we are from the ninth group. We would like to present the discussion under the title Gender Conflict in a Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. Next, please. Next. The first part of the presentation is introduction. Henrik Ibsen is usually mentioned as the father of realism, and therefore the second most influential playwright of all times after Shakespeare. In writing a play, he has a style which Ibsen brought his audience into regular people's homes, where the bourgeois and upper middle class people kept their carefully guarded secrets. Ibsen's A Doll House is based on the true story of novelist Laura Keeler. From the play, it shows that Ibsen is concerned with the problem of women's positions in society. The theme that is more interesting to him in this play is the duties towards oneself and achieving the individuality and individual rights in the society. Next.
For the problem between the main characters in the play, the authors interested in gender's role toward Nora and his husband. The authors use feminism theory to find out the woman's role, comparing with the man's role. The purpose of this study is aimed to analyze the conflict of gender's role in A Doll's House, placed by Henrik Ibsen. The study employs qualitative descriptive method by the search of data in a play entitled A Doll's House.
So the second one is theoretical background. Feminist theory focuses on gender politics, power dynamics, and sexuality in order to comprehend the essence of women's oppression. Feminist philosophy holds that gender doesn't decide one's rights, privilege, rank, or responsibility. Simone de Beauvoir was a French writer, intellectual, feminist, and social theorist. Her treatise, The Second Sex, 1949, asserts that the experience of women has been neglected by conventional society. Simon, in The Second Sex, also declares that our society are patriarchal and a woman must break the bonds in order to be herself as a human being. Meanwhile, in 1878, in Notes Made for a Doll's House, Ibsen declares that a woman cannot be herself in the society of the present day, which is an exclusively masculine society, with laws framed by men and with a judicial system that judges femininity from a masculine point of view.
The next one is research method. This study employs a descriptive qualitative method. The data derives from Henrik Ibsen's play, A Doll's House. Word, phrases, sentences, dialogues, and narration that are relevant to the subject of this research are included in the data used in the study. The primary focus of this study is gender conflict, specifically gender disparities and relationship problems between men and women, as shown in the play. In this study, the library method was used to gather information.
And now we're going to discussion. The first discussion is about gender difference in A Doll's House. Gender conflict is depicted in Henrik Ibsen's script A Doll's House. The play depicts the restricted position of women during the Victorian era, as well as the problems that will arise as a result of the unequal power imbalance between men and women. The gender difference study analyzes how men and women are treated differently in society. Women are often put in positions that prevent them from being women self-aware or independent. Women's role in this time period was typically that of stay-at-home mother who cared for the children, cooked, cleaned, maintained, and tidy appearance, and most importantly, never disobeyed their husband. Men, on the other hand, are supposed to maintain a respectable and distinguished status when working to support their families. This is noticeable in the relationships of those in the story, such as Nora and Torvald, who embody real male and female stereotypes. In addition to women fulfilling the stereotype, men are required to play a specific role, as shown by Torvald and Krogstad. They are both very ambitious men who are motivated not only by a desire to provide for their families, but also by a desire to rise in society. Torvald, on the other hand, was more concerned about his reputation. In the play, Torvald has always said that he loves Nora and will do anything for her. But this all changes when his reputation is on the stake. The play highlights the conflicts that women face in male-dominated world. The way Torvald Helmer treats his wife reveals the misconception and assumptions made in Adolf's house. These assumptions concerns the male character's perception of the female characters on a stereotypical gender-related basis. As a result of women's ideological awakening, masculine dominance is lost, implying a new social system. Next.
The second introduction is a relationship issues between men and women found in the play. Relationship issues between men and women depicted in the play. The common issues that run between male and female characters is the power dynamics between the genders that generally works against the woman. The analysis here will be focused on the role of love in marriage, identity, and the economic disparity. The economic disparity can clearly seen through the play in the relationship Nora and Torvald. Nora's financial ability depends on her husband, and the similar things happen to Mrs. Linde. Mrs. Linde have to leave her true love to marry a rich man so she can be able to support her mother and take care of her two brothers. These experiences show that women have to sacrifice their willing to survive in their patriarchal society. Then, the role of love in marriage also depicted in Mrs. Linde relationship. He makes it clear that her marriage is a lack of love and her true love was Mr. Krogstad. Besides that, identity here refers to Mrs. Nora. Throughout the play, she has been called by her husband as his pet and property. It means that she isn't smart enough and he thinks that she isn't responsible enough to be trusted with money. Next,
The next one is Nora's life purpose described in the play. Every woman has the same purpose after they married and has a child. This is one of the woman roles that identical to every woman. Become a good wife and good mother. If a woman fails to fulfill this role, they will judge with the bad assumption from society. This representative is also shown inside Doll's House, a play by Henrik Ibsen. Nora, the main character from this play, is a wife and mother for three children. As an ordinary woman, she also dedicates her life to her children and her husband, Torvald Helmer. In the play, all of Nora's life always been controlled by other people such as Nora's father and Nora's husband. Her father and her husband always make Nora act like how they want her to act. Next. Because of being controlled all of her life, Nora always has the same thoughts and same ideas as his father or his husband. He told me all his opinions, and then I had the same opinions. And if I hate others, I hate them, because he wouldn't have liked it. After the climax, there was a highlight scene that becomes the turning point of Nora's life purpose. After know how his husband reacted when found out about her secret, Nora finally realized that she just a doll to her husband. So, for the first time, Nora makes a big decision in her life. She chooses to leave her family and finding what she really wants to do. She will fight for her dream and for her happiness. Nora's character development from someone who has always been controlled, always afraid to do anything, becomes someone who feels enough to make a big decision and fight for herself. Nora's life purpose, which became a good wife and a good mother in the beginning, finally changed into finding some jobs and some happiness without being burdened by the woman's role that she keeps people.
The last discussion is women's societal role. In the play, there are the ideas which show women's role in society. The interaction of Nora and her husband Tofart show that the position of a woman in society at the time is a lot lower than a man and not as capable. Tofart believes that before everything else, Nora is a wife and mother and has control over her. Women were considered as useless and always need protection. They also needed someone, usually men, to guide them. Otherwise, they will be lost and have no idea what to do. They must rely on someone else. The interaction between Nora and Tofalt also shows the idea which women were not expected to think differently from their father and husbands. They were also not expected to be at an equal position as men in the society. The interaction between Nora and Christina also show that women's function in society when no husband or fathers are around to support. That was the only time when a woman was expected to work.
And now we have reached to the final part of the discussion, conclusion. Ideological power created through gender relationships in adults' house helps people to reflect on the stereotyping of both men and women in literary works and have a new and rational perception of the gender roles in our modern world. The power struggle takes a part in adults' house, initiates people to have a practical look on the implication of male dominance. The nature of Thorvald's dominance is traditional as it is required by the society for him to maintain his dignity as a man as well as his social status. In adult's house, masculine power is lost as a result of females' ideological awakening, which suggests a new structure of society, and the message of equality between gender and race is also suggested. Without sensitive conception, men would not avoid their tragic fate induced from their exercise of masculine power. As we summarize, the demand of power is also a response to fear and to the wounds we have experienced in the quest for power. Paradoxically, men are wounded by the very way we have learned to embody and exercise our power. Okay, that's all our discussion. And thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.